YouTube monetization person, or whatever your job description is, thank you very much for watching this video. I want to clarify at this point in time that what we are doing in this video is not modifying a firearm in any way, shape or form. We are merely putting what would be equivalent to tires on a bicycle. So we're not going to be changing the barrel or anything like that. I'm not going to be fiddling with the trigger. We're purely assembling a rifle, not gunsmithing, not modifying a firearm. Fantastic news, the wait is finally over. The Howa 6 Creed is here. We're going to do a complete build series. It's going to be awesome. Custom Cerakote, chassis, install all the bits and pieces you need, do some load development for it. I'm super pumped to take you guys through this series. Yeah, it's going to be badass. So you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed down here and turn on that notification bell so you get notified when we pump out new videos, which happens twice a week. If this is your first time here, please do consider subscribing. Anyway, I'm going to take you guys through the whole build list today. We're going to assemble the rifle. In the next few videos, we're going to do load development. We're going to probably change out the optics. We're going to test its accuracy. We're going to test 6mm Creed versus 6.5 Creed. I don't want to give away too many ideas for other content creators here, but damn, this is going to be a loaded series. So I'm super pumped to go through this series. This channel actually started off by doing a video series on the Howa 6.5 Creed, so it's quite logical that we did the same thing with the smaller brother, the 6 Creed. I'm super pumped. I have all the components right behind the box. It's going to be a great series. I don't know how you guys do the super tactical beards, like the big beards, by the way, because I am so freaking itchy. Anyway guys, I'm super pumped about this project. Let's jump straight into the intro and I will take you through our complete build list and let's assemble this bad boy. Boom! Okay, so first things first, what do you get when you buy a Howa barreled action? So the reason I've gone for the barreled action is because simply that piece of plastic that the Howa comes with, it's crap. It's good if you don't have access to this, but for what the type of shooting I do, I'm not going to use that product. So I have just purchased the barrel action. By the way, if you're in South Africa and you're looking for a 6mm, I have a lot of these available in my store. In fact, if you wanted to, let me know in the comments down below. I can take this complete rifle that I build. We're going to do load development for it. More than likely do some sort of custom Cerakote work on it. I could put it up for sale down below. After the project, we're probably going to have about 200-300 rounds through it. If you're keen, you can actually buy this exact one. Even if you just want the chassis and stuff like that, we could just swap out the barreled action with one with a different serial number. Anyway, having said that, let me show you what is in the box. As you guys know, we are very big on this channel when it comes to reading instruction manuals, and I don't actually think there was one in there. They do engrave it on the side of all Howas. Let's just do that. Firearm safety. Read manual before use. Okay, we can try. Anyway, they obviously comes with the Howa 2-stage hacked adjustable trigger, which I hate. But anyway, my gunsmith fixes that. Or maybe for this project, we maybe even try a different trigger. Maybe we can try one of those drop-in Timneys or something. I might actually have a connection to find one of those to try, because I haven't experimented with Howa aftermarket triggers yet. Okay, so our barreled action is here. It comes from the factory, pretty full of grease and stuff. So you can see that we'll wipe all this down before we start to put it actually into the chassis system. So let's park this guy over to the side here. Okay, no, before we do that, very quickly, this is a 24-inch heavy barrel. It comes threaded from the factory, 5/8 by 24. Now this is great if you're planning on running a suppressor or a silencer, depending on which part of the world you're from. It's already been done, so that's a little cost saving worked in there too. Then obviously on top of that, we're gonna go for an MDT 20 MOA Howa short action scope base. Gonna need that. Then, just because I'm not quite sure how this 3 to 15 PST Gen 2 is gonna sit on this fore end that we're gonna use for this build, I have a set of precision match rings in medium, and I have a set of precision match rings in the high configuration. So we're gonna find out which one of these two rings is gonna be our go-to set of rings for this project. So let's pop them over there. They actually look super baller, just like that. Imagine if this was like a Vortex Unimount or like a, you know what I mean. Okay, so let's pop those to the side there. Again, I've taken this PST Gen 2 from a different rifle that's not being used at the moment, so we are going to repurpose this for this build. Lovely little optic, by the way, great value for money. I have, I think, 3 of these on various rifles, because oftentimes when we're doing precision rifle style shooting, you don't go over 15 magnification anymore. We've spoken about this in previous videos. So this is going to be a nice little addition. Then, what I'm going to show you now, maybe for my American viewers, this is not going to be strange, but I have managed in South Africa in the last week to source a Howa short action ESS chassis. So we are gonna, and this is what I'm super pumped with, because I haven't actually seen this configuration, and I think it's gonna look pretty slick. So let's start off from the back and work our way forward. We are gonna go for the folding buttstock in, wait for it, black. Ooh, but wait, it's gonna get better. Okay, so I've already pre-pumped this buttstock with the carbon fiber trim. As you will see here, I think it really adds a lot in terms of the aesthetic look, because as you know, I'm all about looking cool, and then we'll learn how to shoot better. That's kind of what my goal is with most things. Make it look cool, then learn how to use it. At least that's the order that I do things in. But it's very important that you do part 2. Don't just do part 1 because you look like a chop. Okay, speaking of looking cool, do you guys want me to sell these t-shirts for you guys in South Africa? These my friend Martin just made for me and had them dropped off in a variety of colors. But if you want, maybe let me know in the comments down below too. We can sort of do a pre-order. I'll put them on my site. I'll give you guys a few weeks to order them. We'll get all the sizes and things as you order them. You pay for them up front, and then I'm not sitting with a whole bunch of merch in random sizes that we can't move. So let me know down below if you want me to do that, because I'd absolutely be keen. So MDT logo, Vortex logo, look at me flex. Wow, that's pathetic. Vortex, MDT, and then impact shooting with Pete. And then maybe we can put something in the back of the neck there, Martin. Maybe. Okay, cool. So buttstock is gonna go over here, and as I mentioned, this is the folder. Now what's quite nice about the folder is sometimes you have a rifle bag, it's not quite long enough. If you're running a big can on the front, then the folder folds over the bolt, because it's got this cutout piece over here so that it encapsulates the bolt, which is super smart. I'm just gonna sort of clear our table. Then, and here's where it's gonna get interesting, we have got the chassis body. Now this is actually the part that's hen's teeth. In South Africa, the previous distributor of, unfortunately, the guy was not very good at what he was doing. That's why this is hen's teeth. Of course, these are really hard to come by, but I have gotten one. And as you guys know, there is some good news with regards to MDT being more readily available in South Africa. So let's pop that over there. Everything's obviously nicely bubble wrapped as always. Okay, so do you see where this is going? It's going to be FDE, black folder, okay, and then, because I like, as I said earlier, making stuff look good, carbon fiber front. So this is sort of what we're going to work with, and I think it's going to look killer. So without further ado, let me jump into some of the other little parts that we're gonna need to complete this build. I'm gonna go for one of my APW Raptor muzzle brakes on the front. These things we obviously make locally. They work wonderfully. A bunch of people have been asking us if you could buy these in America. We're looking for a distributor in America, so if you know of anybody that runs a store there that's looking to bring in a high quality product that's selling super well in South Africa, and I'm sure it will in America, holla at me. Or if you're looking for a business opportunity and you want to bring them in yourself and sell them online, because there's a bunch of my subscribers that want to buy these and they're not available. So hit me up, info@Impact Pro Shop. If you spam me, I will delete you because I need to keep that inbox clean. So, and then we're gonna go for an Arca rail, because as you guys know, my Atlas and my SkyPod are set up for Arca compatibility, so we can just manipulate them a little bit easier. So we're also gonna go for the Axis Precision Works Arca rail. Now what I like about the Arca rail that we've designed, let me just open that up. I shouldn't actually open up a brand new one, but you know what, whatever. Okay, what I really like, by the way, these do come with super cool APW stickers. So when I set up in designing this Arca rail, what I found was that oftentimes I put my, let me grab a bag here. I put my rifle down on a bag and I'd still have quite a bit of slide. So what we've done is we've actually put serrations in the Arca rail. So it's sort of like the cocking serrations. It's on the front of a Glock, but on your Arca rail, so it actually provides a little bit of grip when you're pushing into a rifle bag. Not that you want to push into your rifle bags, but you know, every little bit helps. So we're going to pop that on, and obviously M-lock that just clips on these. Okay, then what else will we be using for the project? I am going to go for these Hornady. I don't use Hornady dies often, but this is sort of what I could get for the project at the moment. So full length 6 Creedmoor dies. Brass wise, I'm sitting on a ton, not really a ton, but a lot of 6.5 Creedmoor small rifle primer brass. So we're gonna actually go through the process of how to neck these down to 6 Creedmoor. I think it's pretty simple, but maybe you guys are interested and I can show you that. So we're gonna repurpose a whole bunch of 6.5 Creedmoor brass that I no longer use, because I now on my 6.5 Creed I shoot the Alpha brass, and this is old Lapua brass. In fact, I might just get a whole bunch of 6mm Creedmoor Alpha brass on my next trip to the US. So we'll see, or on my next import. Especially now that the Howas are available in South Africa. Again, shameless plug, available on my store right now. So that's what we're going to be using. We're going to be shooting and doing load development around the 108 grain Hornady ELDM bullet. Let me get one of those and show you guys. So beautiful looking bullet with the ELDMs as we're used to. I have a lot of them. That's actually surprisingly, oh, I'm going to break that. That's surprisingly heavy. Let's pop them over there. So I'm going to be shooting quite a bit of 6mm. I've wanted to go 6mm. I'm actually building a really exciting new rifle that will be my new, replace my current match rifle, and I will chamber that in 6 Dasher. I was going to go for the Gay Tiger thing. If you don't know what the Gay Tiger is, just Google 6mm GT or Gay Tiger 6mm. And then you'll find out more. That's what I love about the internet, how they can just take something like that and absolutely run with it. Nonetheless, I'm going to be shooting some matches this year with 6mm, so I'm looking forward to do quite a bit of shooting with this Howa and actually train up. There's a big PRS match for us coming up in March that I'm really excited to shoot. And yes, I know what you guys say, Pete, you don't really shoot PRS. But this match in March, I'll be there. I will. Anyway, let's put this baby together and see what she looks like. I'm super pumped. I don't know if you are. If you're still watching this and you're not subscribed, because chances are you're not, because about 65% of all my views I get on the channel are not subscribed. So just make the screen a little bit smaller and just check down below if you're subscribed. If you are already subscribed, just hit the notification bell so you do not miss any future uploads. Guys, I don't know if you watch a lot of other YouTube channels, but they always ask you like, hey, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment. That just helps us with the YouTube algorithm. So the more you like the videos and the more that you comment, the better YouTube sees a video performing, and it will suggest it to other people that are interested in the same stuff. So that's why we ask you to do that. So please make that a habit. If you love the content and you want this channel to grow and you want me to make better videos, because ideally I want somebody standing over there with a camera and doing like the close-up shots, because now what I'm doing is I'm using this camera with manual focus to give you sort of shots like this, and it kind of works, but I think we could do it so much better. My vision for where I see this channel going, even though I only have 8,000 subscribers now, 8,100, it's big, and I'm super pumped about the future. Anyway, I digress. Let's put this girl together and see what she looks like. I'm gonna fast forward through a whole bunch of this. Honestly, it's pretty damn easy. So I need action screws. Basically all we have to do is take the barrel action, pop it in here. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. My vice is just off the side of the screen. I'm going to take my drill and go through my table. That should be in my new intro. Through the table. By the way, that super cool intro I did for the Shoot Better series, our electricity went off. It's gone. So I still have it, and I can drop it into new videos, but I can't change the clips out. I need to remake the whole thing. Oh, my shattered nerves, I nearly cried. Okay, so let me find 2 action screws, and then we'll be right back and start assembling what is going to be a beastly little 6 more, I'm sure. Okay, so after a little bit of digging around, it turns out the action screws, 100% my bad. Because I sort of went through all the bits and pieces before the video to make sure we have everything, for some reason I took the action screws that will be in the chassis body box when you buy the product from MDT. I popped them into the MOA scope basis box. So I couldn't see them because they were sort of lying right behind it next to this little packet. So I was a little bit worried there, but not to worry. We're back on track. Okay, so first things first, I think let's put the folding stock onto the chassis body. Now, one component you guys might have noticed is missing from this build is this little piece here. So I'm actually short of a vertical grip, but we will steal that off another chassis. And while this one is in use. Okay, right. So what is really cool is when you buy one of these folding stocks, it's quite difficult to get into this little area. Let me make some more space here for us. Okay, and I'm going to use, by the way, if you don't have a vice or fancy equipment, a little game changer bag like this can just allow you to work in a space that is a little bit more manageable and freeing up a hand for you, by the way. So let's see, this goes on like so. We're going to need to be there. And then what's cool is this little screw has to go in there, but now you can't really, let me just bend this so that I can get to where I need to be. Please remove after assembly. Okay, so that little sticker that they've put in here, let me see if I can show you that. So that little sticker is so that you don't scratch up the front of this surface, which will be exposed when it's completely assembled. So that's gonna go over there, and let's get in here with our little T-handle. Just gonna make sure I index, there we go, the T-handle is indexed, and we're just gonna start this guy off real simple. Okay, and it's gonna start getting tight now. Insert your own comment there. And how tight am I going to go on this? Pretty freaking tight. Right. Getting there. You want to just make sure it's completely lined up so that we don't have any uneven gaps around this guy. Now, initially, the first few generations of this was a little bit more difficult to get in here, but with what I commend MDT on is they are very good to listening to feedback from the community and making improvements. As with their magazine wells on the ACCs that shipped the first units, the mag wells were very tight. So this is why we have that little sticker. If you guys can see, this has been marred up a little bit from that T-handle. So now we can just pull it off, and our little buttstock is without the little glue stuff. That's a bit of glue residue that's left on there, but that's no biggie to clean. is in good condition, and they've even added a nice little logo on there. Now, I want to say at this point in time, the channel is obviously sponsored by MDT for 2020 and hopefully beyond that, because I really enjoy working with MDT guys. They don't support the channel for me to say positive things about their product. In fact, whether I do a video with an MDT product or not, they're going to support the channel. The products speak for themselves, as I mentioned in a previous video. I actually shot an ESS for the majority of... I've actually shot an ESS longer than I've shot any other MDT product. And that's why I'm super pumped to build this 6 Creed in an ESS chassis. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. Let me grab a grip off a different rifle so we can just have that grip on and ready to go. Okay, vertical grip source. There we go. One way to do it. What I like about these vertical grips, and it is something to get used to in a sense, but what I like about them is when you put your hand on the rifle, I find that you can get a better 90-degree trigger pull by having your hand in a more sort of upright position than having your hand tilted over, and to try and get that 90 is a little bit more difficult. Now, do I always shoot with a perfect 90? Absolutely not. Do I try? Probably not as hard as I should. But the vertical grip does help me to sort of try and do the best I can. And what the other thing that's obviously really nice about this is, I've mentioned this before, but I have little tiny girly hands almost, and the vertical grip is adjustable back and forward like this, so that does allow me to run it all the way forward. The other thing that's really nice is when I take people out for precision rifle training, then I can just adjust the grip for them to fit their hand sizes, and it's like a one size sort of, or a one product fits all sizes type of solution, which is really cool. And it's pretty easy to adjust. Just loosen the screws on each side and she'll slide back and forth. I'm going to tighten these pretty tight, but not overly tight, because it's not that necessary to go super crazy. And then just make sure these click into each other like that, and then we'll be good to go. Just try and get them all started. And by the way, while we're just putting in little screws, if you guys listen closely, can you hear that humming noise? Let me know, please. Honest feedback, because as I mentioned earlier, our electricity goes off because the government is too corrupt, and they've just basically embezzled so much money, and they didn't upgrade our power plants for years. So they just randomly turn off the electricity. Not randomly, at least we have an app, Eskom's push, very important push, that lets us know when they're going to switch off the electricity, but sometimes they just do it early or late or whatever the case may be, and that does mess up with things. So as I mentioned earlier, Meeser, I think the company's name is Mustech, the agent, they sent over a big UPS unit that basically powers my whole house in the event that the electricity suddenly goes off. Now the problem is I had to connect the unit in the studio. Now I've done my best to insulate the cupboard when the unit is in, but there's a little hum, tiny little hum. Let me know if you can hear that. If so, we need to make another plan, because obviously audio quality is super important, but it's also super important to run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 studio lights. So that's important. Right, I'm not gonna bother at this point in time to put the forend on. I'll tell you guys why just now. So next step will be to drop our barreled action in this. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take some rubbing alcohol, a little lappy, and just wipe off all the factory oils and stuff, because it's a very thick oil and it's probably not very clean. So we're gonna redo all of that just before we pop it in, simply because after it's in, and we won't be able to get to all the little bits and pieces that we want to. Okay, let's pop that off to the side. Now the nice thing about how I've set up my workbench, I'm just gonna pull this bolt actually. There we go. I do find, by the way, that the blued Howas, the bolt feels better to me than the stainless ones. Because when Howa says stainless, I want them to use that term very loosely, because that's not stainless, because they would just rust if you left them. We're also going to need to take off this bottom metal that ships with it, but that's pretty easy. And then we're going to put in the little MOA scope base. Now, how I've set up my workbench, I keep an assortment of lapis. Lapis is little cloths down here for tasks just like this. 99% isopropic alcohol, say that 10 times quick, makes for a nice little quick rub down solution, and as you blow on it, it evaporates pretty quickly. So that makes your whole life a lot easier. Actually, we needed to strip this from. Let's actually remove this bottom metal really quickly. Let's see if this size is gonna work in there. No, it's not. Break up the torque wrench. This is probably one of the best investments you can make, or a product similar to that. Vortex actually sells a really nice torque wrench. With oily hands and stuff, the Vortex one is so beautiful, so I just kind of reserve that for very special tasks. And we're not going to be using the action screws that ship with the Howa, so let's pull that off. Now, some guys, when they buy a chassis system from me, they feel like it's intimidating to build a chassis or assemble it. And by the way, on that note, YouTube monetization person, or whatever your job description is, thank you very much for watching this video. I want to clarify at this point in time that what we are doing in this video is not modifying a firearm in any way, shape or form. We are merely putting what would be equivalent to tires on a bicycle. So we're not going to be changing the barrel or anything like that. I'm not going to be fiddling with the trigger. We're purely assembling a rifle, not gunsmithing, not modifying a firearm. On that note, people are intimidated to do this process themselves, and I really don't think you should be. Just follow along with this video step by step, but if you could hang a picture, you could probably do this. There's a couple of things we'll check just now, just to make sure everything is hunky-dory, and check the function of the rifle before we actually go into live firing the rifle. Okay, I'm going to also wipe down my bolt just to get rid of all this factory offering, all the factory coatings that's on here. Something I also do before we shoot the rifle the first time is actually give it a proper cleaning. Because when they make these, they make a lot of them at the same time, so there might be tiny little shavings or whatever in there. Hopefully not. In fact, let me check into... Ooh, that's filthy. It's, I don't know... Hello? Hello? It's terrible. I'm gonna try and see... Oh, there's light. That's pretty difficult to do, but it is horrific down there, and when you look into a bright light you can actually see that. So we're gonna make sure, gonna use some thorough clean, scrub this baby out super nice, and then we're gonna do all our measurements to measure the chamber, and that's actually something I'm gonna show you guys too, how to do that without having all the fancy modified cases and things, because I don't think you need those. Right, bolt, we're gonna pop that off to the side because we won't be needing that for now. While we have the action in the barreled action in this configuration, let's go ahead and pop on our MBT scope base. Chooks. Ah, very good. So it almost, you can feel it naturally wants to sit in that position. We're going to take the little short screws here, and maybe just maybe for this project I'm going to use a tiny little bit of blue Loctite that I need to just grab from, not that drawer, this drawer. Okay, and let's find the correct hex wrench for that. I keep moving all my stuff. I hope you guys enjoy videos sort of in this longer format. I always read all the comments, by the way. At least at the size that the channel is now, I still can read all the comments. So please do take the time to give me feedback on videos if you think we can change things, if you think we can make things a little bit better. Sorry, I'm just looking around for something that I'm going to need that's on the other workbench over there. See, I love how this alcohol just goes and it's gone. Should do more sound effects. So I'm gonna grab my bubble level quickly and my oil, and I will BRB. Okay, I'm just going to make sure this is sort of level-ish. Obviously, I'm not worried about this for now. I'm just worried about this top level. And honestly, I'm not going to waste too much time on that. I'm going to put a little dab. Just a little dab of oil there, and then just spread that around, because later we won't be able to access this part of the firearm, and I just want there to be a little protective layer of oil to protect against any rust, because come rain, sunshine, snow, doesn't snow here, but if it did, I would still go out and shoot, because I have this thing where I make YouTube videos and you guys are super hungry for content, so I gotta go out and shoot no matter what. Now, very important, there are other companies that do make scope rails. What I've noticed on the Howas is the little screws they send you are too long, so you need to cut them down. Now, there's one way you can test this if your screws are too long, because it will affect your rifle's function and leave it that it's not functional. So we're gonna pop that guy in without getting Loctite on everything. Now, I'm using this Wings nut lock removable. Okay, very important. Do not use the red one. And the reason I'm using a little bit of Loctite on these is because I don't want these guys to come off without me wanting them to come off. So, and then it's just a little added layer of security. At our previous National Rifle League match, one of our Patreons actually was at the match, and it turned out his scope base was loose, and that will have you chasing your tail the whole day, because you won't be able to correct for missed shots, because everything will be completely random, effectively, even if you have an absolute laser. When you say laser, you have to go like this. Comment down below if you know why. Of a rifle, you'll be all over the show, and you won't have a good time. He did have a good time, but you could have a better time. And I've actually myself had action screws come loose on me before. Now, we're going to get back to this tool. I'm just going to snug all of these guys up so that they're evenly distributed in terms of how snug they are, and then we'll work our way through them. So, one time I was installing rings to the actual scope base, and then I went back and changed some things, and I didn't back off the torque on this. So on this Wheeler fat wrench, we're going to go to 20 inch-pounds, okay, for these screw settings. Now, the reason you want to do 20 is because these are small little screws, and you will break them off, as I found out when I torqued it on 60 and I snapped the little screw off inside the action, and I made a lot of unnecessary and super difficult work for my gunsmith to get that screw removed. He had to drill and tap that screw, and it was an absolute mare, and I also had Loctite on it, so it was not good. But we did get it out, and we got it mended, because my gunsmith, Bullet Central in Durbanville, Alfred is a wizard, and I am very happy with everything they do for me, and I won't let anybody else mess around on my rifles. So 20 inch-pounds, we're just going to work our way around until we start getting the clicks. That one was a little bit behind, I think. Okay, cool. We're going to get a click there. Just double check this one. Take the next one to its click. Whoop, there we go. And then one final pass just to make sure everything is hunky-dory. As I was saying just now, let me know if you guys sort of like these more longer form videos that I don't do all the cuts. So I'm just going to do this one as is, and then I'll wait for your feedback. Then I'm going to take another lappy. Let me just get my sort of usual oil lappy, which is not that one, not that one, this one. And I'm going to take next to a Bicky Q20. Okay, this is like a little oil-based thing. Actually, by this time, this lappy should almost be dry, but it's not. So we're going to use a little Bicky Q20. And that's just going to give me a very thin little oil layer on my rifle, and I know it's clean on the outside, and that we have a little barrier of protection against any potential moisture or whatever things that want to harm my new baby. We need to protect her. It's our duty. And there we go. Okay, cool. Now we are ready to drop her into the bottom part of our chassis. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, as I mentioned earlier, if you don't have a vise, you don't need one, just again, your normal game changer. You might want to brace the barrel because it's a little bit heavy, so we're going to just do the solo sack right there and this, because all we need to do now is, there we go, see that our action screws are there, the buttstock's going to drop because of the weight discrepancies. Find these little action screws that we put somewhere, again. Okay, wait, they're still where we found them the first time, in here. Right. Okay, so long one goes at the back, and the short one goes in the front, over there. Okay, so let me swap out to our bigger bit that we need for this. And by this point, if you've done this a few times, you sort of... Whoop. Oh, I already took it out. You know where this is going. So I'm going to, again, just make sure everything is... I'm going to get to where I feel, okay, cool, it's pulling the chassis into the barreled action. I'm going to back it off a little bit. And I'm going to do the same here on the back. Okay, and I'm going to back it off a little bit. Then what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to pick this girl up and hold her like this, because what you want is you want this recoil lug to push against the back of the chassis over here, so that there's no, you don't want any of this. Let me show it for the B camera. You don't want, okay wait, it's too heavy. That movement is not good. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold her like this. Again, take this, snug her up. There we go. Snug this one up. Then I'm going to give it a few little love taps like that, just to settle in any potential gaps that there still is. And I'm going to go back to my torque wrench. I'm going to crank the sucker up to 60. Almost there. Right, you can probably go over 60 on a chassis system, but I kind of just do 60. Now, why do you need a torque wrench if you could just do this by hand? Again, once it's snug, you're not going to need a whole lot to get to 60, so you kind of want to work your way between the two screws. But once you hit metal, it doesn't take much to get to 60. Now, people tend to overdo these. See, that's 60. It's not that much. This is an awkward angle. And I'm going to just... Sounds terrible. Sorry if you're listening to this on headphones. Because now you probably can't hear me anymore because your ears are ringing. There we go. Okay, cool. Now, importantly, just now, we want to back this sucker out and not be on 60 anymore. But we're going to need 60 for something else. But always pay attention when you're mounting a scope or whatever. Check your torque settings, because you will crush the internals of a scope if you're torquing down on your scope rings and you're set to 60. You will physically crush the scope. Okay, cool. Next thing, we are going to put our Arca rail on the carbon fiber forend. Now, when I do sell this chassis, I don't know if I'm going to sell it with the carbon fiber forend. So we might change this out, because obviously when we do the custom Cerakote work, it will be a little bit of a waste to actually paint over the beautiful carbon fiber work that they've done on this. So, let me get our Arca rail, which we popped over somewhere here. Okay, so let's pull this chassis a little bit forward and let's work in this space. Now, I've already removed the little sling stud that comes on the carbon forend. We're gonna, let me show you guys how easy M-lock is. A lot of people I see do this wrong. So we're gonna just back all of these out like that and try and line them up so that all we need to do is slip them through the little M-lock holes. Whoa, too much, and then we're gonna take this guy like that and simply, let me just get my orientation. I think we need to be this way around. Make sure we're at the bottom. Yeah, this one. I'm gonna slot that guy index there, index over there, index over there. Boom shakalaka. And this is pretty much just gonna slide. Oh, she's heavy already. Right, very carefully slip this guy through without scraping the barrel. Ooh. I'm liking how this is looking already, gentlemen. Right, so we're simply going to pop all these screws in, as with all the other screws we do on this channel. Now, if it's just me, like, I think MDT changed the plastic they use on this, because the first models of the ESS had like a high gloss finish almost on that part, and it does not seem to be the case anymore. But I quite like the matte feel. I anyway put some of my proprietary grip tape on this section just to ride bags a little bit better, and I can show you guys how to do that in a separate video, maybe if you want to see that, because I see my rifles as tools, and I actually don't care too much about if I make it look worse by putting on like a piece of grip tape. I actually think it looks pretty damn cool, if you ask me. Right, so the reason I've done all of this before actually mounting the scope is because I want to maybe use that bipod to help me work on the top here, which I will demonstrate now. If you don't have a bipod or an Arca rail or whatever other form, you could do quite a lot by just using a bag, as I've shown you. These bags are super versatile. Now, to show you the dilemma we have earlier, the 3-15 PST2 has a 44mm objective lens. That's this lens on the front here. Now, on the 50, which is its big brother, the 5-25 magnification, in this little area here, you will run into issues with scope clearance. So let me get these rings all set up, and then I will show you guys how I sort of get my eye relief set up just sort of in the shop by looking at a white light. You can do this outside. And then I will start putting on the optic and making sure it's level, and we're probably going to use some different tools which I will show you in today's video, which will be a first for us, because generally this would be what I use, like okay, cool, yeah, that's level, okay, cool, yeah, that's level, and then I tighten stuff down. But I got one of those little wheeler kits, so I might as well show you how to do that since we're going all in for this video. But next, we're going to put on our muzzle brake. Let me get something to cut this open with. This is like a super cool multi-tool sort of tactical wallet. You put your bank cards and whatever you want in this space over here, and then you've got bits and pieces and a little sharp edge here and tools and bottle openers for you South Africans. I was thinking of using that, but I'm actually not going to use it as my own wallet, so I'm going to link this down below if some of you want to pick up this super nifty little product that I actually think we can manufacture. So that's just been sort of, yeah, maybe we could do that. APW. Let me know if you want APW multi-tool wallets. We could probably do that. Right, I'm going to pop that guy over there. Muzzle brake time. Our muzzle brake also ships with a nice little APW sticker. I'm going to put the box over to the side, and then this is what we're greeted with over here. I'm just going to push it out of its little protective wrapping, and this is our Raptor muzzle brake. Again, as I said, a bunch of you have been asking if you could purchase this online in America, and let me know if you're in for a business opportunity and we can get one of these super cool looking girls to you. I'm going to just pop this guy over here so that we can work on the thread here in view. Now what's nice about the Howas that come pre-threaded is that let me just do that so the rifle does not fall off here. I just want to take my lappy again, get rid of any old factory dirty oil or anything that's on there, and I'm not going to use any Loctite or anything like that on our muzzle brake, because it's been designed to fit perfectly. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of just gun oil on that thread, just because when you tighten these up by hand, the oil actually forms a little hydraulic sort of barrier, and it actually gives you a little bit more purchase on that. So this is our APW Raptor brake, and I'm going to just screw this on here. Okay, let me see if I can get this in frame for you guys a little bit better. There we go. Now I'm not going to worry too much about getting it level, but this is the basics of installing it, so let's just use this as our level. So I'm going to go all the way to the back that it locks in. This is going to be a little bit tricky to do sort of upside down for me. So all the way to the back, keep that over there, and then we're just going to, there we go. That's it. Easy as that. Pretty actually looking pretty level. So I might just keep that, but that's going to be good to go. I'm not going to really torque that down with any sort of tools or anything like that. Anyway, okay, muzzle brake installed. Next we will mount our optic, and then we're pretty much good to go to head to the reloading bench and start doing our first sort of load workup on this. Obviously that's going to be a completely separate video, because this video is going to run pretty long at this point. But yeah, I'm enjoying making this for you guys. Let me know if you're enjoying watching this. First things first, I'm going to put on the scope rings now. Again, this bag is working wonders. I'm going to take off all the tops of these and then just sort of cradle the optic inside, and then we'll see if we're going to clear with the mediums. Ideally, I want the mediums to work. I hope the mediums do work. I think we might get away with this. It will give me a little bit of slip and slide action when we mount our optic. Is this gonna work? It's not gonna work. Damn it. So this is what I was afraid of. We are touching the carbon fiber section, and with quite a bit. Okay, so that's why we didn't overcommit to trying to put everything on, and that's why we also did the fore end before we did the scope rings. Okay, cool. Okay, so our rings are set. What do you guys think? Is there a place for like a longer form discussion like this? Well, it's a very one-sided conversation, but hopefully throughout sort of this process I have shared some things with you that you could benefit from. So I'm going to look through my optic just to sort of get my eye relief right. I'm aiming at my big chest freezer, which is white, so it's going to give me a good indication of what I will see. Now, some things to note when you do this: make sure you are on 15 power or whatever the max magnification is, because when you set up, I've mentioned this before, when you set up a rifle scope, you want to make sure you're at your max magnification and get the field of view perfect for that, because that way when you back off, that eye box gets bigger and bigger and it's easier to see. So if you do this on like 3, it would be very easy to do, but if you crank it up to 15, you might struggle to see what you need to see. That's going to be it right there. So we're pretty much like an Allen key length or a hex wrench away from the bubble level. Okay, let's pop this girl. I'm just going to snug these on that she doesn't fall off, and then we'll move on over to the vise. Right, so let's clamp this guy up in the vise. Now, when I use a vise like this on rifles, obviously you don't want to be clamping your barrel with these steel jaws. So what I've done is I've made some soft jaws out of wood and put some little pieces of cork in there so that I can tightly grip my gun without damaging it. So first what we're going to do is we're going to level up. I'm going to clamp it by the barrel. Okay, just like that. Oops, just like that. I'm not going to be too worried about level. I just want to see that the rifle stays. And then I'm going to get out our little wheeler kit for leveling the rifle. We're going to leave that right over there for now. And we're going to undo this little bit and pop it on the front of our barrel here. They've done some clever little engineering tricks with this, and we're sort of going to eyeball that, but the rifle's not that level just yet. I'm going to slip in this little level section, which is the level you place on a level portion of the rifle, and then we're actually going to start to really level this out. Unfortunately, I can't get in there, so we're going to find another place that should theoretically be level. Or what you could do if we really wanted to get this precise, which is probably what we should do, there we go, is level it on the action. So let's actually do that and do it right. Okay, now importantly, I've got another level that we can use here just as an extra sort of indication. So let's first get sort of this level all set. So that is pretty much there, and then we want to make sure we are level on the action, which is going to be there. This takes a little bit of fiddling. We're just going to make sure, okay, cool, our rings are level too. Yep. Okay, just make sure you're not making a parallax fault by looking not directly from the top, because if you look slightly from the side, it may appear that the bubble is in the middle, but it might not be. Okay, so we are level this way, and we're level on that axis. I'm going to turn this vise so that we have this rifle properly, and now I know that that's not going to move. Now what I like about this little wheeler thing is they've engineered it where you can use this knob. You just clamp it on the barrel, get it sort of level. I'm going to tighten it up a little bit just to give us that confidence that it's not going to move on us. And then you can use this little knob at the top here to fine-tune the bubble. So watch that. Just that little bit is going to get us the perfect level. We should be able to see this on that camera. Look directly from the top, not to make a parallax fault. Okay, now that that's level, I know that I can, as long as I don't bump this bubble level, that's not going to go anywhere. So I'm going to take this off the barrel and actually clamp it by the chassis so that we can just get the center of gravity a little bit better, and that I can show you guys a different angle when mounting this PST Gen 2. Now I'm not so much worried about that or that, because I know that we'll be working on this surface over here and everything will be as it is required. I guess the one thing here is I'm trusting that this cap is level on the top. But this is the way I've always done it, and it's served me well. I just used to do it without the fancy magnet or fancy leveling kit. I just used these little DSLR level pieces, and they actually work really well. It's very versatile. So I'm going to make sure, see, I have my bubble level on the scope. Now this is a nice little double check to see if my bubble level is accurate, and it's pretty close to accurate. If anything, it can come a little bit this way, but for the most part your eye can tell is this optic level or not when you're shooting. I've seldomly referenced the bubble levels anymore. In fact, I just find that especially this bigger model tends to get in the way, if anything. On this note, while we have a little bit of time to kill, I want to thank all the guys that recently signed up to Patreon. It really means a lot to me that you guys are supporting the channel, that you like the content, and all the positive comments and feedback I've been getting on Instagram and on your videos. And by the way, on the vlog that went live yesterday, the feedback was really good. Like while I was sitting and editing that, I was telling my wife, I don't think people are going to watch this because people are here for the gun stuff. And yes, I'm here for the gun stuff too, but that was pretty cool to make a little bit of a different video. And I thank you guys for your feedback on that. And then once again, the Patreon people, you know, your contribution means a hell of a lot to me. And for $1 a month, you can help to support the channel. But if 100 people give me $1 a month, donate towards the channel, that goes a hell of a long way. I've got a couple of trips coming up this year, and I'm going to do some collaborations with some American YouTube channels. Hint, hint. Not Demolition Ranch. I wish. That would be super cool. Maybe if you guys think I should do a collaboration video with Demolition Ranch, go over to Matt's channel and go spam the living daylights out of them and tell them with links to my channel that we need to do a collaboration, because I think we can do some pretty cool stuff. So I'd really appreciate that, because that would obviously help out my channel quite a bit. Okay, again, we've snugged up everything. Make sure that the gaps are the same. Nope, not the same on this one. There we go. With these precision match rings, there needs to be a little gap there. Don't tighten them until the gap is gone, because then your optic will be gone too, because you will break it. Okay, again, 18-inch pounds. Let me grab the torque wrench. So as I said, I'm going to travel to America next month. Today's date is the 23rd of February. Yesterday we went to a wedding, last night, my wife and I. If you guys follow me on Instagram, by the way, Impact Shooting, then you will get a little bit of a glimpse into sort of my personal life too. I post quite a few things on my story. I try and not do too much on the main page, because it's like I've kind of transitioned it towards the firearms only page. But I do post some family things, and maybe it will give you a good indication of sort of the timeline that goes into making a video like this. Like, this is filmed on a Sunday morning. As I said, I went to a wedding last night, so I honestly don't feel too awesome today. Didn't get much sleep at all, and I'm not a big drinker. I have a glass of wine or two, but it somehow, like, it affects me quite badly. So that's, I guess, why I'm not a big drinker. I like partying though, just don't need all the alcohol that goes with that. So yeah, that will give you guys a little bit of a glimpse into what we do behind the scenes. This was still dialed for whatever my last shot was on whatever rifle that was. And that's it. Now we can pop off the little wheeler tool that's just outside the frame here. And guys, that is gonna be one of the last steps we do. Now all we have to do is pop it into the sky pod over here, and then we have off the bat just assembled a pretty badass looking rifle. Now you guys have had over the course of the video time to actually see what this looks like. I haven't actually taken a step back to see what our finished product is going to be. Okay, so skypod mounted. We're going to flick these little legs out. This is not obviously the standard feet that the skypod ships with. Yeah, see, this was what I was afraid of. The scope looks a little bit high for my liking. If I stand like that, maybe you guys can see it better. Like this. So I'm probably going to swap this out for something else in the very near future. But let's just make sure we are on the table there. Everything seems good. Now we're just going to function check the firearm to make sure that the bolt cycles. Now, earlier I spoke about if you're running different 20 MOA base, then if these little screws that we put in here with the Loctite are too long, your bolt physically won't move through the passage where it needs to go. So if we function check that, everything feels good. Yep, okay, the rifle is clear. Okay, trigger drops, everything feels as it needs to feel. Guys, I'm super pumped with how this rifle came out. I think the black, the FDE and the carbon, all bits of trim look really slick, and I'm looking forward to running with this project. In the next video we'll be measuring up the chamber. I'll show you guys how you do that without all the special tools and the stuff. And then we will thumb suck our first loads. We're also, as I mentioned earlier, going to go through all of the brass and make sure we size all of these down to 6 Creedmoor from 6.5 Creedmoor. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And yeah, I'm really pumped for this project. I hope she's a shooter. She looks really good. As I mentioned, that's kind of step one on a lot of my rifle builds. Let me show you how this folding stock works. I'm scared of scratching this table because those APW claws we do are razor sharp. Okay, cool. So that locks in place now. It's firmly in there. So then we just pop it straight back into place. Now, some other things we'll probably do with this rifle. I'm going to put our little oversized bolt knob over there. I'm probably going to change this muzzle brake for an FDE muzzle brake, because I think that'll just, I mean, just little details like that will round off the project really well. I'm not crazy about this transition from black to FDE, so we may do something about this little area here when we do that custom Cerakote job. As I mentioned, if you want to pick up this system, I'll probably link it down below in one of these videos. Maybe just not yet, because the project's probably going to take us the better part of about 3 months. Because obviously I don't want to just feed you guys the same stuff. So we'll do like every other video will be focused on this rifle build. Let me know if there's any tests you want me to do with this rifle build. Some suggestions if you've got a 6 Creedmoor. As I mentioned, I'm going to be shooting the 108 grain ELDMs. I want to test some 110 A-tips in this too. And I'm super pumped to shoot the 6 Creedmoor in a few matches. As I mentioned, big PRS match for me coming up in March. And I'm going to shoot a 6mm in that. So not this gun, it'll be a different rifle. But more on that project when I go overseas. So I'm super pumped to tell you guys about that. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching Impact Shooting and supporting the channel. Again, let me know if you want t-shirts. Please subscribe down here somewhere and make sure you have hit that notification bell. Howa 6 Creed's available in South Africa right now. I'm pumped. I think she looks good, so yeah. I'm like, if this wasn't a Sunday, I'd head straight into the next video right now. But I have to spend some time with family and yeah, all in due time. Thanks for watching guys, I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Go out there, shoot your guns, be safe, and have a great time, because at the end of the day, shooting should be all about fun, and that's what our main focus here is. Cheers. First little preliminary the Arca rail. So it's sort of like the cocking serrations on, I said cock, preliminary action screw. No! What the fudge? Could have sworn they were in here. No? Action screws?